Hello everyone, this is a very quick guide to the latest stuff in Kraken 3.5.0 update. Extremely fast tour of the main things that are interesting. Titan Sync got a new algorithm to sample. Everything else is the same. It will default to the standard one, but if you want to try experimental sample accurate, just select that. Everything else should be the same. Use as smaller range as you can, and when you run, it will use a new algorithm that we've developed, which we'll look forward to hearing from people how well it's working. Dynamic rushes folders. If when you import an audio folder, if I can find something, well, let's import day. I'm going to import day. In fact, I'll talk about two things here. The group name now defaults to master folder name. Because it found one group called day, it just defaults to day, but you can still change it. If you do dynamic group, when you import it, then it has an option, rescan dynamic group, which basically will just reload looking for new folders. So if you want to add folders in Finder and then just automatically update that group, you can press rescan dynamic group rather than sort of removing it and re-importing it. So that's that batch selector, selection batch selector. This just is a floating window that will simply act as a selector of all the different reels and clip names that are in the project. So it's just a convenience thing. You can then interact with that selection as you want. You can multi-select. So that's a quick way of removing all of the reels you don't want, or clip names. You can select by clip name if you want. See that? There you go. Metadata panel upgrades. Metadata panel is a messy preset, has some beautiful things, or you can now just add things and click and add them as you go. You can just pile them up without having to reopen the menu, which is beautiful. You can also set the text background color. And we've also improved the ADR reading. If you have ADR tracks, it will look at EDQ based formatting and show you the character and the caption and the reason based on the default reasons. Copy pasted timecode values. If you go here, Control C, Control V, there you go. I think it works from, you just have to click on the first one. So if I click on 15, will it take them all? Yeah, it just takes the whole thing. So if I change 1510 to 1520, if I have this in some spreadsheet, copy, paste, there you go, it pastes. So just standard copy paste commands, it'll take from all of them. You've got to make sure you put proper values in there or it'll get confused. So that's that. EDL import, export via CSV, and caption import and optional CSV. I'm going to absorb all these together and just export an EDL, then re-import it. But the same thing applies to other document types. These document types, SRT, STL, IAT, Avid captions, and just a generic CSV file if you have an Excel document that you want to export to CSV. So I'm going to show the EDL export to CSV. I'm going to export these selected events. This normally would export to EDL, but if you do export dot, if you do .csv, it will see that and it will make a CSV. Export.csv. Well, there's one I made earlier, so rather than go searching around, I'll just use the one I made earlier. So there's a CSV document that got exported of the selected events, so you could take that over as a spreadsheet. And then if you have this document, or if you want to edit the EDL in some text editor, you do this, open it in a text editor, do what you want. So now if you had an edited EDL or a list of captions or anything you want, just drag them back in, and we've got this new window which will just open up the CSV as sort of raw data. I think it's resizable. Raw data, and you can just allocate columns. It'll make a guess based on the format, but you pick what each column is. So you map each column to the relevant output. So if you had a caption list, you'd do like the clip name would be the caption content, and the track might be the character name. It's kind of like mapping it into kind of like an EDL. That's how Kraken thinks in sort of EDLs. And then, so that's going to come in as a new EDL, which I'll show you, but just by the by, if you're importing a different document type, those weird caption document types, you can, as a little trick, just include output CSV, which will output whatever you're reading here. So there's just these little extra options on import and export to convert things without cluttering up the UI too much. So import CSV, there's export CSV, come in back as an EDL. So that's a round trip now in and out of Kraken for editing if you want, or anything, and caption formats coming in. Find matches by parent folder name. Let's just clear matches. I am viewing here folder name, which is just the direct folder parent of this, which may not be useful in some circumstances, but if it is, you can do find matches by parent folder only. So that match by folder. In this case, it happens to be the same as the real, so it's superfluous, but sometimes it might be the important thing. Let's do reruns last find matches command. So I just ran the command find matches by folder. If you're doing a bunch of matching, rather than have to keep going back into the menu, you can now do Control M. Control M to run. It runs the same matching method, so folder matching. So if you're doing some batch fix up, you can just quickly run Control M to run the same matching method. If you're doing some unusual matching method, that's a nice improvement. EDL selection emergency undo. Kraken doesn't have a standard undo built in, but I grafted on top a basic emergency undo. If you're building up some specific selection, I don't know, for some reason you accidentally remove the selection with a single magic search onto A2, like, oh, I didn't mean that, I was building up a selection. You can just revert one step back, undo selection change. It only has a one level memory and it's only a single click. So if you do a single click batch selection variation, it will just be able to rewind one step. So just might get some people out of a little annoyance there, given that there is no standardized undo in the app. Speech panel extra filters, I'm not sure that last. Media panel removal now triggers a confirmation warning. Remove selected, are you sure you wish to remove? Cancel. If you have a session scanned, which we do here, the raw track is currently not a Kraken track. You can just press Control Command U to reload whatever is currently in the session. So if you want to make this in this case, I'll just make a Kraken clip group just to show that raw saving, and then Control Command U, raw appeared on top. Now, that doesn't matter. Normally you can just press scan and it's the same effect, but some people in situations where the scan doesn't find the PTX because of the method that Kraken uses to locate the current PTX session sometimes doesn't work for various reasons with network drives and things. So you can manually make sure you've got the right session loaded, which includes being able to drag into here, by the way. You can drag a PTX into the door sync area and that will set you up syncing to a certain PTX, and then you can just do Control Command U to reload that specific PTX. So this is now like a fixed PTX scanning, not just whatever happens to be found by the searching mechanism. Layout menu, change this, took away this little plus. If anyone's confused by this menu, these are all your layout presets. I'm going to go to Tool Basic, and I'm already on Tool Basic. Overwrite current layout. If you want to rewrite, let's make Tool Basic actually Tool, and overwrite current layout, and then just change to wide again. go back to Tool Basic. There you go. So that change is saved. Save as new layout. New layout. Set as default if you want. So now new layout will be the default. The yellow box is the default. Control clicking makes it go red, and that means to delete a layout. You can't delete the layout you're currently on. So if you need to delete the layout you're currently on, go to a different layout and then delete that layout, the other layout. Don't want to delete. So the yellow box is to say which one is the default. So you just click. And the number is to load layouts with command, and then that number. So command 1, command 7, command 3, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, hopefully that's making the layout menu just a bit clearer. And speech panel, extra filters, show speech view. People wanting to have everything and anything available here, so it's just basically now it's just the same as the blue panel search. All sorts of filters here. Okay, anything else? As always, shout me. I'm going to get all this written into the manual as well as soon as I can. Thanks very much.